Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome back to my Tarot 101. Now, if you haven't seen my first kind of restart of Tarot 101, where we talk about the decks, please go check it out, as this helps to get you started on this journey, if you will. This is a pickup right after that, as you've picked your deck. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of deck you have, so the same criteria, the same suggestions, they, well, make sense. Your deck is going to be an important tool for you. So the first thing that we need to do is to play with your deck, to enjoy the deck. Now, there is a myth, and I said this before and I'll say it again, you do not need to wait for somebody to gift you a deck. You will be waiting from here to high heaven in hopes that someone would. Historically, things like this were kind of kept undercover, and you would learn from, say, your mother or grandmother or father, someone in the family. That's where this myth came from. Now, many of us are picking it up, and sometimes our family has nothing to do with it. As I said in my first video, if you're going to learn the Rider-Waite deck or any of its pretty update contemporary pieces, you want to start with the original, because the decks are built off of this. So understanding the original and its symbolism will help you understand any and all decks created from it. So this is a deck I've used quite a bit. It's actually my second teaching deck. So if it's a deck that you've never worked with before or is new to you but not new to the world, what you want to do is go through and put it in its suits. Now, like I said in the other video, there are 5. So you can just go through and put them in those groupings. What we're going to do, you're connecting with the picture. If it is a new deck, go through and examine the picture. If you've never looked at these cards and really given them the time, I would highly recommend that you do. All right, we've got a problem. See, I can't even do my own thing because I'm not paying attention. There we go. There's the 5 suits. So look at the cards. Look at the imagery. And if it's a Rider-Waite deck, yes, I will already tell you, hands up, everybody's white. Hands up, it is very much a male-dominated deck. Is that good? Well, it is what it is. You have to remember this deck was printed. It started being printed in 1909. It's over 100 years old. Most things like this won't hold up, right? Times change, people change. However, what Pamela Coleman Smith downloaded in her illustrations is still very valid, and we still use it to this day. Now, are there a lot of updated contemporary pieces on the Rider-Waite? Absolutely, you bet. And it's, some of them add in the different cultures, add in more femininity. Absolutely. However, make sure, and I always say this, you want to go back to the original, because again, there may be pieces that that creator has left off for whatever reason. And sometimes they don't even realize it. There's small little symbolisms that each card has and can get lost in interpretation. All right. So once you have the suits, just kind of get them together. And then again, go through them. Now, it's funny. I think the only time people will use Roman numerals right now would be when they're doing this, because most of us don't remember or well, depending on who we are and what's happened, we may or may not would have grown up with Roman numerals. So yes, take the time to 8, 9, 7, go through them. And 11, there should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing some. It's going to be a tight squish. I'll get it. The reason why you want to do this is because you want to check if you have all the cards. And I do this frequently with my decks, just to make sure I have all the cards. It's really hard to get a complete tarot reading if you're missing a card. And yeah, it's just nice to make sure and see. This one always has that extra, we'll put that there, card. All the major arcana. This is actually called, oh, sorry, we're getting a funky glare there. This is called the Fool's Journey. And I'll go through the Fool's Journey later on. This is all 22 major arcana, because there's the Fool. You don't need to keep them in this format. I'm going to, for kind of teaching purposes. I actually shuffled this deck to get a better shuffle, if you will, of the deck. And that's another piece that you can do, is shuffle your deck. Once you're done this, once you have a good, okay, I've got all my cards, all of them are here. Great. Well, then you look at it as a whole. You're going to want to shuffle it up. Shuffling is one of the ways that you can start to get, how many do I want to cross? Probably 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, we do want 7. Okay. 7. There we go. Shuffling is one of the ways that you're going to be able to shuffle out negativity, disconnection, and it will connect you in to your deck. Again, which is important because you want that connection. The more you handle your deck, even just doing this simple process of going through each card, looking at each card, acknowledging it, will connect you with this deck. While you're doing this, you can think about, okay, so what do I want this deck to do for me? How do I want to read with it? What will that look like for me? And then soon, you don't even have to pay attention. You start to know what the Roman numerals are and how they flow, basically. 3 and then 7. Look at all the blue. Starts at 5, right? So looking at that, there's a lot of symbolism. Pamela Coleman Smith picked colors for specific reasons. Yellow. You don't usually get a sky that's all yellow or a floor that's all yellow. That's especially in a celebration card. Looking at that, there are reasons. There's reasons she did this. And I'm going to get into the history more. I'm going to talk about that history piece because it is important. It's important to know where we came from and how it impacts us, how it impacts the reading, the connection with the cards, all of it, because it does matter. 6, 7, Queen. I love, like, this is just playing with your cards, connecting with them, enjoying them. The more you handle them, the more they're going to read for you. and the more you're going to understand. You're going to get that feeling. What does it feel like? How does it make you feel? These are important pieces when you're looking at tarot. Because again, we're emotional beings and we should have that connection, that intimate reaction to them. Again, we got a lot of blue here, except for one major yellow. Now, once you have these all sorted out and you know you've got all 78 cards, because that's an important piece, you're not missing any, you shuffle it. There's no right, I'm not going to shuffle this because I do need it in the actual form like this. But you take the deck and you shuffle it. It doesn't matter. You can hand shuffle. Let me just grab another deck here. Okay, so this is the Everyday Witch Tarot. It is a derivative of this deck. So you can take it, bend your cards. Some people don't like that. Most of the Rider Waite is on a flexible enough card to do that. You will find some aren't, and you can't, there is no flex to it, so you can't arch the deck. When you're doing this though, I have a tendency, shuffle it one way, shuffle it the other. That way you're not getting a weird warp to your cards. You can hand shuffle it like this. Now, depending on you will depend on if you can do this. If you do not have the dexterity to shuffle like that, you can do what's called a messy shuffle. I'm gonna move this deck because I don't want to get involved in the messy shuffle. You just kind of swirl it around. You know, think of when you're a kid. Shuffle them up. What you're trying to do is break the order. Connect with it. Now, if you're reading for yourself or what's called a querent, which is another person, that's when you start to ask or think of the question. The important thing is to have fun. If you get stuck up with the, oh, it's got to be this way. No, it's got to be this way. You get caught up in the technicalities rather than what it is you're supposed to be doing. Setting some intention for your deck, connecting with your deck, and clearing any energy from your deck that isn't yours. Now, speaking of cleansing, it is a really good idea, especially if you're opening up the box or whatever container your cards come in. As I won't lie, some of the older decks don't have their original box, is to cleanse and clear your deck. Is shuffling one of the ways? Absolutely. However, you may want to add in added layers, especially as you're starting to connect with this new deck. Now, there are many ways that you can clear a deck. If you're a Reiki master, you already know that you can do that. Another amazing, simple way would be a selenite piece, whether it be a selenite rod or plate. I have a lot of friends who like to keep their primary decks on selenite plates so they don't have to worry about it. It's a quick, easy clear. As a side note, guys, if anyone touches your deck, and this is a true preference for the reader, you'll want to clear the deck afterwards as well. And that's why I said a lot of my reading friends like to place their primary decks on a selenite plate or place a selenite rod on top of their deck. The only other method that I would suggest for clearing a deck is possibly sage or incense. And again, that's going to be up to you, because many people, due to asthma or contracts in where they're living, may not be able to have incense. Passing each card over the incense or the sage is another way that you can cleanse your deck. Just be careful not to light it on fire. Now, there are a few other ways that some readers use to clear. That would be the sun and the moon. I don't recommend it, as you're putting your deck in direct light. For example, with the sunlight, you could fade the colors. The moonlight, again, you're putting your deck out in the open, whether that's outside or in your home. Many of us, we live too far from the equator for great clearing properties. As a Canadian, I can tell you, it takes a long time, many nights, to clear the deck. And I don't like to put my deck out, as I do have animals, I have pets. So again, they're open to their little paws. Additionally, children and other adults can start to mess around with your deck, which again adds different energies to your deck, which kind of negates the whole process. So, like I said, the shuffling is amazing. Something like a selenite piece, fantastic. Incense and sage, if you can do it. Know that even adding that added extra shuffle will help, because you're putting your intention and your energy into that clearing. As a side note, as you are either passing your cards over the smoke, putting the card on the selenite rod or plate, put some intention to this deck. You want the deck to speak clearly and to tell you the truth, to show you the symbols and the meaning quickly and with great purpose. Like I said before, the more you use your deck, you will start to understand its flow and energy as it connects in with yours. Peace, though, my friends. Whatever you're storing your deck in, please clear it, especially if it's the box. Now, this deck is older. I don't have the box, so I have created a little kind of wrappy thing that I hold my deck in. You want to make sure that wherever it's housed, that it's clear too. So if you do have, like right here, this is an oracle deck. It comes in a nice little box. Once you've got the deck, you want to clear the deck, but you also want to clear the box it's housed in and anything else. So if you have the book, clear the book, because it's going to be having contact with your deck and it can skew your cards. That helps. Do you need to have a clearing ritual? Not unless that's important to you. When you use your tools, it does become somewhat of a ritual, something that you rely on. Another thing that we need to be very mindful of is that this doesn't become a chore. You should be having fun and be excited for using your deck. When we start to have that sense of dread, the tarot will pick that up. And our reading, well, it too will pick up that dread. Remember, there's nothing that is written in stone in tarot. It is a mapping tool. There may be a warning. However, at the end of the day, it's a warning, not a for sure. Part of having that fun is to actually use your cards. Many teachers will say that they want their students to draw a card each day. This can be fun. However, after the 100th time that you've picked a card for your day, it can be really challenging. I do have tarot challenges on all my social media, and that social media is linked below. Each month, we explore different topics, so it gives you a focal point for that draw. And an important part, though, is to please write down and document this journey. This is an important aspect, as many of us, we forget that feeling or that first impression we had when we drew specific cards. And that feeling usually gives us that direction that we need to understand and embrace. I want to thank you guys so very much for joining me today and exploring one of my favorite topics. I love my decks. I love my cards. If you did enjoy this session, you guys know what to do. Hit the bell, hit the buttons. It helps me know that this is something that people are enjoying and want more of. And of course, if you have more tarot questions or any questions, please leave it below. I love to hear back from you guys and know how I can help you out more. And if you're looking for an added layer of support, I do have a Patreon page. You can check out the link below and come see my community, as I do offer lots of supports and little bonuses there. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and exploring tarot. I hope to see you in this journey with the cards and what's beyond. Until tomorrow, my friends.